Well, hello everybody, welcome. We're setting off to Burnley today. Yes, the once mighty industrial town of Burnley that back in the 1200s was very, very busy because in 1290 it gained its first corn mill. Then in 1294 the first market arrived there, and then in 1296, to finish off with the flurry, it had its first fulling machine. Now, fulling machine, that's just really to cleanse, de-oil, de-grease, de-dirt, you name it, wool or fleece as that's come from a sheep. So without further ado, let's get over to Burnley.
Well, we've arrived at Blackburn station. I just gave the RSVP a few pence, and as you arrive, as you can see, it's well, not extremely unpleasant, to be honest with you, apart from whatever that thing is, but it's quite pleasant. But I spy straight over there the cathedral. Let's go and have a look. Well, been there and done that, madam. And just behind madam is, yes, the cathedral. Needless to say, the cathedral is located in Cathedral Square, which makes sense. That's quite pleasant though, quite open. And Queen Victoria there. Whether she's amused or not, I don't know. The cathedral is famed for its Tree of Life sculpture that's on the side of the wall. And a little view from the side. I'm convinced they put that there because someone broke a window and they couldn't afford to get the glazier in. As we amble along through the grounds of the cathedral, we can see it's actually very cathedral-ish, which is, as to be expected, the perfunctory cathedral yard, and calling it a quarter as expected. Quite old, I assume. Let's continue. And then the, so to speak, business side of the cathedral. And very imposing it is too. And yes, open door, let's go in. The detail around the cathedral entrance is lovely, and as are the flowers. And some more flowers. And just a few more flowers, as I say, all in front of the cathedral. As you can see, one of the newer ones. Well, we've arrived in, had a lovely little chat with the lady who was seated there to give information. Struck straight away by the roof and the wonderful detail. I mean, look at this. Hope you can see the little shields and things in the roof. Wonderful. And lovely little details that the lady was telling me it owes itself, that the reason the bees are on there is that the Bishop of Manchester back in the early part of the 19th century, sorry, the 20th century, decided that he wanted to expand the area, hence the reason this was deemed a cathedral. So it's because, naturally enough, Blackburn is not a city. And there's the pulpit. Lovely wood structure. I'd be telling a lie if I could tell you what it is. Perhaps I know it's not oak, I don't know. Sorry, I beg your pardon, the pulpit is calling that. Pulpit, sorry. And then as we come towards the main area, wonderful sort of metal thing, I think, representing the thorns. And then what you see immediately are the pipes from the organ. And then the detail of the windows all the way up there. Wouldn't have to get a ladder and clean those. And there she blows, the wonderful machine that drives all those pipes. And another stained glass window at the end there. And then on the opposite side, you can see the detail in the roof. Sorry, ceiling. Let's get these things straight. And then the view down the cathedral that the celebrant gets of his congregation. And under this window is the cathedra, which is the seat of the bishop, which is how they got these particular churches deemed as cathedrals before all the rules came into place about having to be a city and having to have rights of way and having to have this. And these are called, according to the little notice here, these are called misericords. These are seats for paupers. Oh, I think I'll have one of those. And I won't go into detail, but there are several plaques here on one wall, so I'm not sure it's the west or the east side, that commemorate the great and the good of Blackburn. I just think the detail is lovely. As I mentioned before, that in the ceiling is just something else, to be quite honest. And very unusually, they've also got some Stations of the Cross that are extremely modern compared to some of the other ones that we've seen in some of the other churches that we've been along to.
Well, I have to confess, I wasn't expecting such a, I suppose you might say, a modern interior for such an old, well, it's not old, I mean, well, yes, over 110, 120 years old or whatever, cathedral, but very, very interested. Incidentally, you know, Blackburn, and I know as much about football as really my watch does, but I didn't realise that the Blackburn, the local football club, it's had the longest continuously inhabited football stadium, and also Blackburn have won each of the division championships during the course of their lifetime. So there you go.
And opposite the cathedral, just discovered BBC Radio Lancashire. Not too sure if they're still there, but what I think is very ironic is I know the office to let, but it's a Kit McGrath Education Centre, so plainly the BBC never used it to train themselves with regards to accurate news. And as we passed the hive of incorrect news, just noticed there's a little plaque here that we're on Darwin Street, or in Darwin Street, that goes back to 1842 when the textile workers were protesting against the wage cuts. So there we go. And on this particular building, we've got the first northern terminus of the first street tramway in the kingdom to be worked entirely by steam in 1881. And you'll never guess what the plaque is seated on. Well, not really seated, but you know what I mean. It's on a fine old building called the Postal Order. And what is the postal order that makes it strange from other postal orders? Well, yes, we've discovered it straight away. It's a spoons! Let's just go over the road and have a look at the building itself in more detail. And there it is, the postal order in all its finery. Why not eat, drink and play in the very welcoming Q Lounge? Looks like a barn to me. Goodness me, not seen a Best Western for years. Formerly called the Wheat Sheaf Hotel. Ah, and just to prove it for those who can't write or spell, this appears to be the Bell Rio Ibiza. Nice flowers outside, and of course the torn wallpaper on the side. Very much a tribute to absentee or slum landlords. Yes, I know, trying to get satirical and not working. And the Fenton Sports Injury Clinic. I presume that's where those who want to go on disability benefits go to get themselves specifically injured so as to fool the benefits people. And the chippery seems a little worse for wear. No idea what a chippery is, but it's telling us to eat out, so there you go. Oh, as I walked past, I just spied that duck on the other side of the Boro Ibiza number 1 or whatever it is. I don't know if the duck thing is a bit of a tribute to some of the patrons' lips or not, I don't know. Quack, quack. Well, very nice, tidy welcome to King Street. From what I can see, this is Byrom Street. Interesting sign up there. I mean, it's a modern building, but it's saying built 1752 and established in 1946. And then as we come around here, into the center. Oh, look, if you wear a mask, you can dive into the cathedral or into the castle. Interesting.
Oh, silly me. It means parking for the cathedral, but we're quite a distance from the cathedral, but fair enough, you know. Keep the cars or keep the cathedral car free.
There's an interesting looking building. Not too sure what that bit on the top is there, but presumably quite old. My fascination for silly shop names, I thoroughly approve of Come By Again. I think that's quite clever. I presume that's an old banking establishment.
A couple of notables from Burnley we have is the actor Sir Ian McKellen. Now he's famous for appearing in the likes of Lord of the Rings, the X-Men and Coronation Street. And if you ain't seen Coronation Street, you ain't seen famous people like the political type person that people love to hate, and that's Alistair Campbell. He also hails from here. Lee Ingleby, he hails from here. He played, I think it's Detective Inspector John Bacchus in the BBC's George Gently. And then we have a notable sports person in the form of James Anderson, who's one of the, well, I suppose one of the leading greats in cricket. But again, I know nothing about cricket. So, and then one final last notary is Dave Fishik. He came from very humble beginnings, i.e. I think turfed out of school, and went on to become one of the largest minibus owners in the UK. That's just a few famous people.
Oh look, a double whammy. We've got bargain ends with a Z and trends with a Z. So if the bargain ends, does that mean that they've gone more expensive? Modern shopping centre thingy presumably up there. Mind you, looking a bit grim in its own peculiar way. And let's wander up this sort of more pedestrianised and cobbled street.
A little bit disappointed because I've been keeping my head downwards, because those of you who are Beatles fans will know that A Day in the Life, one of their songs, it contained the lines 4,000 holes in Blackburn, Lancashire, and I've not seen any yet. Is it the council are more efficient at filling them in, just despite the Beatles and that modern rock music? I don't know.
Well, at least being honest. Sorry, couldn't resist.
I had a sneaky peep in the window there behind me. Gosh, they certainly know how to charge for second-hand goods. A couple of items in there actually more expensive second-hand than when they're new.
The Ribblesdale Tap is housed in a interesting building. And a memorial to 4 times Prime Minister William Gladstone, who currently seems to be saying, "Seagulls, pigeons, this is where you make your deposit." Goodness me, act bars this way. Look at the amount of this weighing that you have to do. It goes on and on and on and on. And then the actual refurbishment. I don't know about the King of Curries. It's going to be the gargantuan building of Curries by the look of it. Well, well, well. What more can one say except make mine a vindaloo? Or maybe even a fowl. Although I can't have fowls anymore with my former stomach trouble. And here we have the Blackburn Times pub. Just thought it was interesting seeing something so sort of black and burnt. Well, no, it's not burnt. And then attached onto Akbar's is the Bolton Magistrates Court. Again, typical large suite of buildings, possibly Victorian or even earlier. The side of the Magistrates Court is not exactly how you'd expect to find such an old building. Perfunctory Leviathan at the bottom, of course. A little garden thingy here where they say our community is worth caring about, but just, well, seating for a mere 6 to 8 people. Interesting wall art. Not too sure what it depicts, but it depicts somebody doing something and making something. Ah, Forbes do more than law. I must go in and ask them, can they give my hair a trim?
I am rather amazed at, and I mean, I don't know if I'm being accusatory or not, but seems to be an awful lot of crimification here in the town, because I've never seen so many solicitors one after the other. Maybe it's just that's where they're all located, but I'm not going to show you the names because, you know, they never advertise my business, so why should I advertise theirs now? I must have seen about sort of 15 or 20 law practices one after the other.
Always on for an unusual name, but I haven't a clue what that means. It's Edge of Kensington Place. Interesting building. No idea why they just didn't stick a lamppost up instead of turning it into some faux piece of artwork. And then as we swing round from the town, just all of a sudden this little oasis of lovely old Victorian or maybe earlier terrace buildings. Oh, very strange. Well, at least they've got kobeda for a Turkish cloven kebab if they require. We're on King William Street. Hey, come on now. Let's have a bit of fairness towards King Charles. He's only just arrived in. And what have I spied down here? Are we ready? Yes, housed in this old building, the Grumpy Baker. What more could I want? My own bakery. Interesting building here. We'll go and have a little bit of investigation. I don't think it's what it was intended for, because there's little shops in the bottom. Yeah, it seems to be it was a former church, because there's little cross things on the top there, but it's being changed into something else. This is the Museum and Art Gallery. And some nice detail here up above. If we have a zoom in, there we go. And we'll just go around the side and have a look and see if there's anything more effusive. It's undergoing refurbishment at the moment. Very fine building though. I do love this detail here of these frescoes. They depict mine workers and sheepists and farmers and the rest. And then we just stumbled across a church that seems to be well past its pray-by date, unfortunately. Presumably they might turn it into something else, I don't know. Hope they do. Shame to lose that ancient monument. And just spied another piece of outdoor artwork. Looks like an ornithologist or maybe an archaeologist inspecting something. And then as we zoom around, yes, we found the council building. And you can tell it's the council building because of that thing behind it that councils always have a habit of either building or locating themselves near. We can see there the municipal offices and the people collecting all the councillors' broken promises, all neatly packaged up, ready to recycle into next year's promises, which will happen just before the May elections. And in fairness, just quite a fine building, but just a very typical council office thing. I couldn't help but notice here opposite, well, Wedding Fitters Studio. How romantic is that? At least they didn't call it something like Gloria's Pipe and Drain Works. Oh, the main front of the municipal buildings, or town hall, I have to say, is quite nice and impressive. Let's go and have a look at the few of the plaques on the front. Well, yes, nice looking welcome. Nice detail. We've got Private James Pitts and a Quartermaster Sergeant William Henry Grimbleston. And on this side, we've got Second Lieutenant John Schofield and Lieutenant Percy Dean. So that's all dating back to the First World War. And plenty of public notices. Oh no, sorry, I saw them in the collection van the other side of the town hall just a few minutes ago. Well, we appear to be in the main town centre. Marky Bender's there just coming up. And a couple of obscure banks, and then the more modernistic sort of, well, just a modernistic stairways to a car park, because that we've got the Mall with this wonderful thing in the centre of the town. I don't know what possesses people to build it or how they gain permission for it. And then we've got this thing here, which not too sure what it is, unless it's for a TV show game program. Looks like some sort of woke ticket thing that you pull something out of and get a prize from the drum. Sorry, I'm being very facile. Oh look, a bank's still open, and a very big one too. This Mall thing, or mall, if you want to be, seems to stretch out. I mean, you've got that there, and then at the end there, and then we've got the Mall here, welcome to. I don't know if they mean that you're welcome to it, or whether you're welcome to the Mall. And then it goes, it's quite big to say the least. I don't want to labour the point, but my goodness, this Mall just seems to stretch on forever. And welcome to Blackburn bus station. Thank you very much. Not for me, thanks. You're welcome to it yourself. Keep it.
I had a quick nosy inside the Mall. It's like anywhere else. It's just a shopping centre. And didn't do any snaps because, well, shopping centre is a shopping centre really, but I do wonder why they get so sort of, het up about somebody doing a video. Yes, I can appreciate they don't want people stalking out jewellery shops, etc. But looking in that particular Mall with certainly some shops empty, I do wonder if it's because they don't want people to publicise the fact that some of the shops are empty because, for the obvious reason, rates too high. They've got to employ staff, buy stock and have energy, and it doesn't become a very popular sort of thing to do nowadays. All thanks to, of course, the retail street destroyers. I won't mention any names. Won't say a word about who it might be. Wonderful book selling system in one of the charity shops. They're divided into white coloured books, greeny coloured books, blue coloured books, and red coloured books, and black covered books.
I don't think they're necessarily connected, but Blackburn was recorded in the Doomsday Book, and then several hundred years later, Thwaites the brewery was established. And there we go, James Hargreaves, local man, he invented the spinning jenny. So that's why Blackburn was so important in the Industrial Revolution. Oh, I missed Ian McShane was born here, among many others I might add. I didn't want to bore people. Oh, and I bet you never thought that, did you? Oh, you people, you don't give the town a chance. And finally, I never realised that. Never realised it was so late. The lady at the cathedral never told me. A bit like the Guardia Familia in Barcelona, still being built. The Sun and on Astley Gate. Gosh, what a host of jokes, but I won't bother. Interesting looking building with its little mini balconettes next to the Lloyds Bank. Let's go and have a look at Lloyds Bank in more detail. Oh, I owe the bank an apology. Someone said it had quite an impressive entrance, which it has got. And it brings us back to Cathedral Square. Did notice this thing, it seems to have, well, I thought for a minute it was a Union Jack thing, but it seems to have just fallen off the end of an old extras lorry for a Netflix series. Oh yes, definitely a Netflix series. I have no idea what that thing is. Another one here coming up. Interesting. Another one here presumably meant to be a leaf or something similar. And then some sort of ship thing from a galaxy far, far away. Oh look, a bit's fallen off. No, a local said it's not fallen off, it's an installation. Well, anyone can install something on the ground, can't they? And then, oh no, that's not an artwork. It could be. And some sort of tulipy thing with more sort of, I don't know, these bits of fallen artwork. And look what we spied, yes, Primarche. Oh, I didn't see that right in front of me. Next door to Primarche is Blackburn Market. Oh, I think it's time for a little break. Let's sit down. Well, I know a market's a market, but by gosh, this is just as you come into it. Flooded with stuff. Brilliant.
Gosh, everything you could want. It really is a market par excellence. Very busy and very full. Well, it's busy in the background there. I'm just wandering through now because it's lunchtime. They've even got a real food court here. Blimey, and a huge one it is too. Incredible. Wow, everything you could want. Gosh, plenty of stuff everywhere, and it's so busy. Very big. Well, good luck to it. Plenty of people eating. Fabulous. Just spied this wonderful old building. Bottom of the street here. Quite fascinating, actually. Bit of a mixture of everything. What caught my eye was the Rapunzel-style single balcony in the middle. Very whimsical. That's an unusual main frontage for Morrison's. Welcome to Morrison's. Not exactly, well, wouldn't drag you in, would it? And this statue outside the cathedral is something to do with the Equal Pay Act of 1970. I have to confess, I'm just too hot and I'm too lazy to try and find out who it is. Is that Mags? Maggie Thatcher? Anyway, I'll overdub it or whatever you do with nobody around locally. I've asked 3 people, seems to know. This is getting altogether very frustrating. Been wandering around for ages and I've not seen one of the 4,000 holes that are supposedly in Blackburn, Lancashire. Not one of them. It's very disappointing. And as with all towns, we seem to have hit the little takeaway road. One after the, oh, Cluck and Doe. Could make a comment about that, but I won't. Yes. Lovely to see an old-fashioned style shop front, even if it is modern. And in 1899, it appears, as you can see, what's written on the tin, the electrification of the tramways started here. Although, well, the building is in a little bit of a state of disrepair, I'm afraid. And there we go, my quick wander, which I hope you enjoyed. I'm giving up the ghost because feet are very sore and tired today. Well, actually, to be honest, it's related to the unbelievable 27 degrees that the thermometer has crept up to. It is really very, very hot and warm. So, as I always say to you anytime, thanks for watching and take care till next time. All the best.